Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Adulting with Hannah. I'm Hannah, here today with something pretty different. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my Tinder date from hell, and I'm gonna take you on that ride with me today. So this happened back in 2013, I believe. It was my junior year of college. So it would have been 2014. 2014, okay, got my timeline. So this was a while ago. So I used Tinder. We're all shocked. So I went on this one date. I don't know why this is hard for me to say. I want to give him like a pseudonym, but the first letter of his name is important. So let's call him Brian. His name starts with a B. Brian and I go to the movies, and which is pretty normal. This is when Horrible Bosses 2 came out. That was what we saw. So whatever year that was, that's when this happened. So I think it was 2014. And he picks me up at my apartment, which I rarely did. He didn't know which unit I was in, but he knew like the apartment complex, and I had him pick me up at a building like near mine. But anyways, he picks me up, we go to the movies. The car ride was pretty awkward. Like he was pretty like a braggy kind of guy. So he had like a pretty nice car, and he had a smartwatch, which was like a big deal because there were not very many smartwatches back then. And it had like a screen and everything like similar to like an Apple Watch now, but it wasn't an Apple Watch. This was way before that. So he was like really braggy about his Apple Watch and his car and his money, and like insinuating that he had a decent amount of money. And I was like, great. Anyways, so like, cause that's just not what I want to know about a person. So we get to the movie theater, we get inside to like the entryway, like before you like offer or buy your tickets. And he was like, oh man, I left my wallet in the car. And then he just looks at me, and I was like, well, you better go get it. Like, I'm not about to pay for the movie that you asked me to go on. Like, if we were to do something, I would have suggested something free if I were to pick the activity, because I didn't have any money at the time. I still don't, but I didn't have any money at the time. Like, I was living by myself in a studio apartment that was very expensive. I was a full-time college student trying to work. So he went and got his wallet and came back. Like, it was in the car, luckily. Otherwise, I would have just ended the date right there. We would have gone home, because I didn't have any money to buy 2 movie tickets. Like, I just didn't. And he was the one that wanted to see the movie. So anyways, we get inside and get the tickets, and he's like, so like, you're probably watching your weight, so you don't want any snacks, right? And I was like, actually, I would love some popcorn. I would love a large popcorn, actually. So thank you very much for asking. So that was just rude. And I was telling this part of the story to a friend of mine, and she was like, I would have just ended it right there. And I was like, yeah, but like, I kind of wanted to see the movie. Like, I really liked the first one, so like, whatever. I'm not planning on marrying this guy, so who cares? So we go into the movie. The movie starts. It's funny. It's a comedy. This guy was laughing so hard throughout the whole movie, like clutching his stomach, like leaning into me, which I don't really like. I have a big personal bubble. I don't like to be touched. And like, this was the funniest thing that's ever happened. And like, me personally, and like, I like this movie. I like the actors. I like that type of comedy. And I laughed out loud maybe 2 or 3 times. And had I not been so uncomfortable by his excessive laughter in a normal situation, I might have laughed out loud like 4 times, maybe 5 times, like out loud, like, haha. You know, this guy was like rolling the whole time. So that was just strange. And like, I don't know if he was trying to seem a certain type of way, but it was just, I was not picking up what he was putting down, to say the least. So we leave the movie theater. He takes me back home. I don't think we ever got dinner. If we did, I totally blocked it out because it's just, he was not a fun person to be around. And as soon as I got inside, I texted him and I was like, hey, just thank you so much for taking me out on a date. I just really didn't feel a connection or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I appreciate getting to meet you, and, you know, wish you the best, whatever politeness thing I said. And I saved the messages he sent me. So what happened was, he never had my phone number, I don't think. I think we were contacting outside of Tinder on Facebook. So he never had my phone number, which is good. Considering what ended up happening. But so yeah, the movie theater part, that wasn't even the bad part. So we're getting there. So I saved them, and I actually today had to go back into my hard drive to find these pictures of this conversation, because I had moved them off of my phone years ago, and I found them. So he said, are you sure? I really liked you. So that must have been, because I don't have a picture of what I said, but because I ended up in the future blocking him, so it removed all of my side of the conversation. And in reality, I didn't respond hardly ever. I think just a couple times after the whole thread, because I had to ask a follow-up question about something that happened later, which we'll get to, so stay tuned. But anyway, so that's why it's a one-sided conversation, and his name is all, it says Facebook user because I had blocked him because of excess harassment. So he said, "Are you sure? I really liked you." And then at 4:30 in the morning that night, he said the following: "If I'm being honest, I just wanted to stick my huge throbbing in you. Just seeing you makes it so hard. I'd give you anything." Now, I'm a lady, so there was no sexual leading up situations to this date. We were not sexting or sending pictures or talking about that or holding hands. We didn't kiss, like. So, of course I was sleeping, so I didn't get that message. And then he said that morning at 10:30 or 10:03, LMFG never drunk Facebook, which, like, okay, that doesn't make it any better. I drink and I don't say those things to people, you know, like, I know a lot of males that drink and don't ever say that to people. So like, I'm just not okay with that, or somebody that would say that to someone that they met one time. So he said, "I don't mean to be this way, Hannah, honestly. Please understand. I try way too hard to meet new people because of all my friends that had graduated after I got back from Africa." I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure he was in Africa for the military or something. I don't remember. Kind of blocked out a lot because this was just kind of traumatizing, honestly. And he said, "I don't know many people. I'm really sorry if I annoy you, but it's the only way I know to show how I care, LOL. The funny thing is, I don't even know if I like you yet. I just don't like being told no before I can make up my mind." That's nuts. And just a whole bag of issues. So he said, "But it's your choice, so I'll let you do what you gotta do. Bye, cutie." Which, like, that, calling me a pet name is just so pretentious to me, because, like, you don't know me. You don't get to give me a pet name, like, ever. So, okay. So there was another conversation, and unfortunately I don't have the whole thing. And this was before I had blocked him, so I wasn't responding to any of these messages. Basically, it says, "I know we probably wouldn't have worked out, but it could have been a fun little thing, LMAO." And so this is later, and I don't have dates on this either, which is annoying. It's in the same week time frame. So then that weekend, or maybe the following weekend, was our formal for my sorority. My date was a guy named, let's say, Ben. Another B name. See where I'm going with this? Okay, so all excited about that, whatever. The circumstances for that whole date in and of itself is a story. So let's get into it. Basically, Ben, I met in Chicago shortly beforehand. I was visiting a friend, and he was on Snapchat in my area at one point, and somehow we got each other's usernames. I never actually physically met him, but he was in the Chicago area, and there's that, like, nearby function, which was new at the time, that you could, like, match with people that were near you, and so somehow that happened. Basically, we didn't really have much, like, conversation. He would mostly just kind of send things to multiple people at once in his friend group or whatever for a while. And then I think we started, like, exchanging conversation at one point on Snapchat. And this was before it had a chat function, by the way. Like, you can do a message, but you could send pictures back and forth. And it was mostly pictures of cars, like he was a mechanic or something. So anyways, I was complaining about how I didn't have a date to formal. And he was like, "Oh, I'll go with you." I was like, "Oh, I actually don't live in Chicago. I live in another state." And he was like, "Oh, dang." I was like, "Yeah, so whatever. I'll just try to get, like, one of my sorority sisters to set me up with, like, a friend of her boyfriend or something, because that's usually how it works." And so he said that he would fly down and go with me, which, like, to me is just the coolest thing ever. Because, like, you know, sororities, a lot of wealthy people, and, like, money is a big deal, which is annoying, and I didn't have any money, and my family didn't have any money and stuff, which, like, not all of it is like that, but, like, it was a thing, you know, I'm not gonna deny it. It was a thing. And I didn't have that thing. And so of course to be able to tell my friends like, yeah, my date is flying in from Chicago for the formal was really nice. And I was excited. So in hindsight, very dangerous, because this guy was staying in my house. I don't know what I was thinking, but anyways, I don't think I ever told my parents this either. If they're watching this, they're probably mortified. But anyway, so this guy flew down from Chicago. I picked him up at the airport and blah, blah, blah. Before that, let's back up like 2 days. This is like two or 3 days before formal, when I have to go pick him up. He's flying in, blah, blah, blah. I get flowers sent to the office at my apartment complex. And I pick them up and bring them home, and I read the card, and it says almost ... and then from B. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, Ben is so excited to go to formal and meet me and meet my friends and hang out and stuff. So I like texted him, I was like, hey, thank you so much for the flowers. And he was like, what flowers? I was like, these. And I like sent him a picture, and he was like, I didn't send you flowers. I kind of wish I had now, but I didn't. And I was like, well, then what does this mean, and who is B? He was like, you tell me. I was like, yeah. It was Brian. So, because that's the only other B that I had any interaction with. And so I texted him, I was like, or messaged him. I was like, I know I must be mistaken, but did you send me flowers? And he was like, yeah. And then I said, what does the almost mean? And he gave me some BS response. And I was like, okay, please don't do that again. I was like, I don't know if I was clear before, but I don't really want to like interact with you, like especially after all the things you said. So I think there was like a string of conversation according to the screenshot, and I don't know what it was, I don't remember, but what he did say was, LOL, okay, I will tell you the truth now. I was trying to save my ass by lying to me about what it meant before. But he said, I sent you the almost because you were almost good enough for me to consider a second date. Yeah, because I was begging for another date, for sure. And I don't even think I said anything. No, I didn't, because this is still before I blocked him. I said, after cooling off, after you told me you didn't feel it, and I agreed and was drunk and wanted to get the last laugh, which I don't really know what that means. Like, did he send the flowers after? Like, I don't know. And he said, I'm done, LOL. And I don't think I think he messaged me again later, and that's when I ended up blocking him. But it wasn't anything important. And of course, I don't have time in my life for that. But yeah, so that is my Tinder date from hell. And it turns out that my date for the formal actually ended up being pretty terrible too. He was very like annoying and didn't really want to hang out with me at all. He was like really into my friends, not my female friends, like male friends, like just wanting to have like dude time. He was a little sloppy, I guess, just drank a little too much and was like really loud and liked to talk over people and wasn't very respectful, which might just be like a Chicago thing, like I don't know, but it just kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and it was just weird. And yeah, so that was a disaster too. So overall, just a lot of fun times. So I never heard from him again. I never really heard from the other guy from Chicago again. He went back home, and I just kind of ghosted him because he was kind of shitty. So yeah, that is my Tinder date from hell. And if I think of anything else crazy that's happened to me, I will definitely tell the story, because I'm sure there's something. It might not have to do with dating, because I'm not really a crazy dater kind of gal. If there are any crazy like dating stories, they're probably honestly just sad. But yeah, so anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I put out lots of different types of content, especially this is definitely very different from what I've ever done, but it was fun. It was fun to share a story and kind of go back and remember it, because it had been years. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.